Welcome back to a brand new episode of Around the Big Ten. I am your favorite host, Lucy Rohden. Now, I know it's been a hot minute since you've heard my Nebraska jokes or how much I love Grayson Allen, but I needed to take some time off from the show to reflect on how truly terrible my pick for Michigan State to win the conference was. But hey, at least I'm owning it, right? Well, since it's been so long since you've heard from me, we're going to play catch-up on today's episode, and we're going to start with the hot mess that is Nebraska football. Now that I think about it, maybe I was just subconsciously waiting for Nebraska to get a win, so that's why I took some time off. But all jokes aside, what a mess in Lincoln. Just a few months ago, Scott Frost could have run for governor of the state of Nebraska and won. And now he's sitting at 1-6 on the season, and it's not feeling like winter is coming anytime soon. But good thing for Nebraska, the rest of the West pretty much sucks too. Minnesota gave Nebraska their first win of the season. Illinois has surprisingly won one single game this year, which is really good for them at this point. And Purdue lost to Eastern Michigan at home earlier this year, but beat Ohio State by 29 last week. So that team is just one giant train-sized question mark. But on the other side of things, Northwestern is quietly cruising by at 4-1 in the conference, but sit at 4-3 overall, and Iowa and Wisconsin are both at 3-1 in conference play. So really right now, the West comes down to Iowa and Wisconsin. The Badgers defeated Iowa earlier in the season, but the Hawks are rolling right now and have the opportunity to get a huge win at Penn State this weekend, and I think they'll do it. These teams really match up evenly, but I've always been a defense girl, so I think Iowa's going to take this one. The Hawks are just so hot right now, and I know the defense has been the headliner this season, but the offense has looked really good these past 3 weeks. But for Wisconsin, Alex Hornibrook is, well, not looking so good. And because he struggled so much this season and his play has just been so inconsistent, I think Scotty's going to end up losing another one, likely to Penn State or Purdue. So if Iowa can win out, a trip to Indy is a serious possibility. But looking at the East, it's khaki season because for the first time in Harbaugh's tenure as a coach in Ann Arbor, the Wolverines actually look really good. National contender level good. And I have no doubt that Michigan will end up in Indianapolis, but because the Wolverines are just on another level this year, there is zero excuse for Harbaugh to lose another one to Ohio State, aka the team that got blown out by Purdue last weekend. But elsewhere in the East, Rutgers, not even worth taking the time to mention. Maryland and Indiana, they're not bad, but they're not necessarily very good either. And Michigan State's doing their best to make me look stupid for picking them to win the conference, and guess what? It's working. Ohio State finally got some karma last weekend for their coach's questionable ethics in the offseason. And finally, Penn State, they're just not the team they were last year, which is why Iowa has a real shot to win in Happy Valley, but only if they can contain Trace McSorley. So it'll be another good weekend in the Big Ten, especially with Nebraska playing Bethune-Cookman and Lincoln, so maybe win number 2 is on the horizon for the Big Red. But it's still Nebraska, so who really knows? But that's all I've got for you on this episode of Around the Big Ten. I hope you guys miss my terrible Big Ten football jokes as much as I miss telling them. Once again, I am your host, Lucy Rohden. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week to talk some more football.